If you've been on social media lately, there's I like to believe there's a change in dating power dynamics. I don't know if you guys have noticed this too. I've seen more videos of women complaining about dating.
As a woman who considers herself average at best and below average, like on a bad day, I don't think it's that crazy for men to say things like, I'm afraid of approaching women. Um, just be like, based on the fact that approaching is difficult, like you have to put your ego on the line. Somebody could be recording you, your rejection could get posted, and they could reject you in a really mean way, especially if they're recording you, and you're not aware. But also, it's just hard to know when you're supposed to approach. Like, how are you supposed to know when somebody's open to receiving like that sort of attention? And you might say, oh, it's body language, but it's like, are you supposed to look at them first? And how are you supposed to look at them to indicate that that's something that you're trying to do? I feel like it's hard, it's difficult, and it's scary, and those are all reasons why I don't approach men. Like, I think it's just hard. I don't know, but you guys can let me know your thoughts on this.
I can't stand a man that acts like he doesn't understand what's expected of him off the rip. And he'll expect so many different things from you. That's the funny part about this. Oh my God. Dating in this climate is just so freaking funny because men will expect a laundry list of things from you. They expect you to come dressed to the nines, looking pretty and ready to listen to whatever they want to rant about or talk about and talk about themselves the whole time. Yet, when you ask for something as simple as like opening up a door, or you shouldn't even have to ask for that, flowers, or for them to buy you something that you like, it's crickets. It's crickets. It's like you're speaking a foreign language to them. And I'm done. I'm about to start exclusively dating women.
People don't make albums anymore. They don't make albums. They just try to sell a bunch of little quick singles and they burn out and they put out a new one and they burn out and they put out a new one. People don't even listen to a body of work anymore.
And this is not something that I used to see 2, 3 years ago. I started seeing this more this year. And I think it speaks to a lot of things, right? I'm going to try to keep this video short, but if you've been on social media, you must have seen videos of women complaining about dating men. Men are ghosting women nowadays. Men are not putting in effort anymore to talk to women. I mean, you will see women to the point where they start shaming men for not approaching them, which I think is a terrible thing to do, because just because a man is not interested in you doesn't mean you have to insult him. That's a conversation for another day. But if you understand what I'm talking about, just put a 1 in the comment section at this point so that I know that you are aligned. But I've seen that. I've seen this a lot, especially on TikTok, of women really complaining about the dating market. And oftentimes this comes from women's inability to accept rejection. But then again, this is something we need to talk about. I don't think people are talking about it enough. People like to say men don't know how to take rejection. That's true. But women also don't know how to take rejection, if that makes any sense. And I'll tell you how and why. Anytime you see women come online to complain about dating, she is usually speaking about rejection from the guy she wants. I guarantee you that is what she's talking about. When you see women coming on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, whichever platform, to complain about the dating market, she's not saying it from a genuine place. I guarantee you that. This is coming from a guy who has a lot of female friends and female acquaintances. I talk to them almost every week. I know. They are speaking because the guy they want, for whatever reason, whatever they are attracted to in him, he's not corresponding with her, if that makes any sense. So when they come out, right, and that guy, he's maybe ghosted them, or he's not putting in a lot of effort, or he's just not feeling her, she doesn't know how to compute that, because a lot of women think that they are the best thing in the world. If you know what I mean. A lot of women don't think that a man can reject them. That is why whenever they go into the world and then the guy they want doesn't treat them with the same excitement that they expect, then they say the dating market is bad. Men these days are weak, or men are sassy. That's the word they typically use. And the essence of this video is just to provide multiple reasons as to why the dating market for women is not potentially to what they expect. And I'm going to be speaking from the man's perspective, from the average man's perspective. This is not to, make fun of women in general, but a lot of women have an overinflated sense of beauty. This is point number one, in my opinion. A lot of women overestimate how attractive they really are. And this is not necessarily their fault because of how easy women can get attention, because of how easy women can get validation, right? So you will see a woman who is maybe not as attractive, but she's a woman. And you know how women do with one another, even if it's not authentic, women give a lot of inauthentic praise to one another, especially when that woman is not a threat to them. I don't know if you guys understand this, but this is something that it happens. And this is not a shame, because this is competition. Life is competition. Dating is competition. And I know there are some women out there that say, oh, I will never compete for a man. That's a lie. If you are heterosexual, you do care what men think. And if you're a heterosexual man, you care what women think. That's just what it is. There's no need to try and act like you're special. That's just what it is, right? A lot of women give inauthentic praise to one another. So especially when the woman is not as attractive to her as she thinks, she will give her praise. It's called pity. It's pity praise, right? So let's say this lady who is not as attractive, maybe she's severely overweight, she's badly built, whatever. She posts a picture on TikTok or on social media. Look at the comment section. You know that woman is not attractive, but I want you to look at the comment section of other women. Queen, you're a baddie. You look 10 over 10. You're this, you're that, giving her praise. I mean, I saw on TikTok some weeks back, this lady was completely overweight. I'm talking rolls upon rolls upon rolls. Right? And if you look at the comment section of that video, it was just women who don't look like her, by the way, who were in shape, calling her a baddie, telling her, man, you look good. And I was like, this is not real. You're lying to her. And they roasted me. And then I said to one of the ladies in the comment section, and I said, well, in that case, you guys look alike. She stopped responding to me, because she knew I caught her in a trap. So this is the experience of the average woman. And in addition to that, the average woman, even if she's unattractive, she can still get attention from men, because men are very easy. So, especially online, when that woman who is not as attractive goes out into the real world, okay, and she doesn't get the same attention she gets online from dating apps to social media, she doesn't get that same attention. She's confused, or she pretends to be confused, because I think a lot of women know their stance in real world. They know that, but a lot of women confuse sexual attention to real attention from men. So when they go into the real world and the guys they want are really not checking for them like that, to take them on dates, to take them to claim them publicly, they crash out. And the way women typically crash out is by making quote unquote think pieces, like, oh, men these days are bums. Men these days don't chase women. What she simply means is that the expectations she has of herself is not matching her reality. So that is why you see this explosion of women complaining online about men these days not being serious about dating. Does that make sense? So that's point number one. I feel like a lot of men they've checked out, maybe not checked out completely, but they've checked out to some extent. What does that simply mean? That means you have a lot of young men now who would rather play video games than message a woman, right? Well, it is what it is, man. You have a lot of men these days who would rather just play video games than message women. You have a lot of men who are fed up, with the games. Maybe these are men that have been rejected their whole life, so they don't care anymore. Because listen, everybody has a breaking point. You get me? Everybody has a breaking point, dude. Nobody wants to be rejected their whole life, especially when you've been told time and time and time again you're not good enough. Everybody has a goddamn breaking point, man. You're gonna be like, yo, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm not engaging with this anymore. It is what it is. Peace out. This is just how it typically goes. And this is the story for a lot of average men, because a lot of women who are average think that average men have the same experiences as they do. That's not the case, right? If you look at dating apps and you look at the data, you will see that the ugliest woman on a dating app with the lowest ranking still has more options than the attractive man on dating apps, even on social media. Even the average man doesn't have nearly as much options, quote unquote, as the average woman on a dating app, right? So most men who have been excluded time and time and time again from dating, they check out. They check out. I mean, what do you want the guy to do? Keep going and trying and getting rejected? I mean, you can only self-improve so much. You can only self-improve so much. Especially when you're having success in other aspects of your life. Does that make sense? So this is part of the reason why a lot of average men are checking out of dating, because it's like, if he has been trying his whole life to get attention from women and he never succeeds, or he succeeds a little bit and then it ends badly and then he now has to go back to the drawing board, the guy's going to check out, especially when he's having success in other aspects of his life. He's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to rub one out. I'm done. And that makes sense. That makes sense, right? So that's part of the reason why a lot of women are complaining about dating, because more and more men, more and more average men are simply just checking out of dating, bro. They're checked out of it because it's the return on investment is not worth it anymore for them, especially, right? And I'm an average guy. I know it's not worth it, bro. It's like, because you could be doing everything right. You think you're making the right moves. Even the girl could come on a date with you, but she don't even like you like that. You know what I mean? She could go on a date with you, doesn't mean she likes you. I've seen, it's never happened to me. It's never happened to me, but just because it's never happened to me doesn't mean I don't understand what goes on in other places. That is why I have this channel, because I want to share my personal experience, but also I want to share what I've observed. Okay? I have seen videos of women posting TikToks, right? Talking about, oh, I'm not attracted to the guy, but I need company. I don't like him, but I don't want to be alone tonight. I don't like him, but it's a free dinner. Like, bro, that is exhausting. What guy who is decently socially balanced wants to put himself through that again and again and again? At some point, you're just better off paying for it, right? You're better off paying for it, which leads into my third point on why a lot of women are complaining about dating and why a lot of men have checked out of dating or chasing women. Because in this modern era from 2025, and I don't see this slowing down onwards, sex work has been destigmatized, right? So you have a lot of men nowadays who are very open about paying for it. I mean, can you blame the guy? Can you blame the average guy for just deciding to pay for it? Because people like to, some women like to say, oh, but what about love? No. In this modern era, I don't think love is possible anymore. Is love still possible in this era? I don't want to sound hopeless. I'm sure it does. Boy, oh boy, is it going to be hard. Really. Because nowadays, right, you have men who can simply just pay for it. Right? They see, you have platforms like OnlyFans now. You have a lot of escort services, AI girlfriends, men, being able to just rub one out. And my point is, there are options. There's a lot more options for the average man to relieve himself. You can pay for companionship now. I think in Japan, you can actually, there are systems for that. So the average man who was never successful anyway, to have women naturally, I cannot blame the average man for taking other options. I can't blame him, man. Who am I to blame him for that? Because a lot of average women, because of the illusion of options that they have from social media, from the access to sex or sex, I've said it anyway, they think they have a lot of options out there. And now you see women when they realize that they don't have as many options as they thought, that's when you start seeing them coming online to blame the average men about their own choices, about their own, inability to get the kind of men they want. Because one thing most women will not do is accept the reality that maybe they are not as attractive as they think. Maybe they don't have the options as they think. Because that's the thing. Anytime you see women talking about, men are ugly. Men are ugly these days. You know what I mean? You've seen videos like that. Oh, there's a chopped man epidemic. There's an ugly man epidemic. You will notice that these women oftentimes, they are comparing themselves in a made-up state, enhanced state. So they have filters on, they've got makeups on, they are well-dressed, and they are comparing that look, which is not their daily look, to the average guy who doesn't have the options to enhance himself. Does that make sense? So this is why you have a discrepancy in dating. And this is why a lot of men have checked out. Because, bro, there's more to life than women. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm not saying this to be nasty. I'm just being realistic. If an average guy has been rejected all his life by women, there's going to be a breaking point. There's going to be a breaking point. There's going to be some men who just give up and just check out of it. And they're like, if it comes, it comes, but I'm not putting any more effort. And I think a lot more men are at this point in their life. And this is why a lot more women are complaining about the lack of effort from men, especially the men they want. And I've noticed that a lot of the women that typically complain about dating and the lack of effort tend to be older women. So as soon as they hit like 30, 40, all of a sudden men are not putting in effort. You rarely see women in their 20s complaining about it, right? So that also speaks to it, because this is when I think a lot of women want to settle down. They now realize that, oh shit, I don't have as many options as I thought I did. Does that make sense? So this is where they start complaining. This is where they start making all those videos and talking points. And now everybody, you see these videos everywhere. So that's point number 3 as to why a lot more women are complaining about the lack of effort from men. I don't know. These are just my opinion, my thoughts. Yeah, and it makes sense. It does make perfect sense as to why a lot more men are just tired. And I think another point would be, dating is expensive, bro. Like, let's be for real. It's expensive. You gotta put your time into it. You gotta put money into it. You gotta put your effort into it. And for what? For what? I just think a lot of men have just checked out of it, to be very honest with you. What do you guys think? Leave a like, leave a comment, share this video. I'm trying to start a conversation. Thanks for listening.